Yes, that is the coin toss. And this week we have decided, and some of you may have seen, there was a meme going around Facebook for all you football fans of what every team wanted for Christmas. So you got 32 little boxes with the team logo and everything they wanted for Christmas. So we thought, let's go through some of that stuff, or let's figure out what our teams need for Christmas. So we're going to start, obviously, as you know, we have a Commanders fan, a Falcons fan, and a Bears fan here right now. So we'll start with you, Sean. You're kind of our guest this week. What did the Washington Commanders need for Christmas, or what do they need going into the new year? What is it that Washington needs, my friend?
Um, I mean, on the field, we can start off the field. Dan Snyder needs to go. Obviously, that's first and foremost, and we're hopefully he's out the
Right.
door, but we'll see. You know, we're not going to hold our breath. Secondly, we need a long-term quarterback. We need a stable quarterback. You know what I mean? Taylor gave us a
Yeah.
little bit of it, but he's struggled. We've seen that. Carson's coming back. We'll see what happens with that. Or we don't know if he's going to come back. We'll figure out
Right.
who's going to be a starter going forward. But our line would help. Getting all of our guys healthy on defense would help. This and that. We need a lot. Mainly, we need Dallas to lose also, so that adds end to the pot. But yeah, that's where we're at, man.
No, I mean I get it. You're totally right. Oh wait, we got a question for the roundtable. Should Amy Adams, what is that? Struck consider firing? What the hell is going on? Let's say Amy. I don't even know.
Amy Adams
I
Strunk. I don't
can't.
know. I don't know if that's the GM or the owner. But that's obviously
Oh,
somebody.
okay, right.
Somebody.
I
Somebody
thought it was
front
the
office.
actress. I'm like, why are we talking about Amy Adams for? Isn't she an actress? I don't know. I'm like, why are we talking about this? What's going on? I don't know what it. All right, yeah, okay. Let's talk football. My question for the roundtable is this: should Amy Adams, Strunk, I guess that's her last name,
Mhm.
consider firing Mike Vrabel? He tells his team, let's talk more work, and then they all go to social media to talk. Has he lost the locker room? Well, Chris, thank you for chiming in, and that is actually a pretty good question because it's interesting to me that I don't know, because I like Mike Vrabel as a coach, I guess for the most part. I don't, but again, we all know when someone loses a locker room, then that's pretty much the end of it because guys don't want to, they're not motivated. Nobody, practice is lackluster. They get in the game, nobody cares. Everybody's just doing their thing. The coach is sitting there getting frustrated. Everybody else is like, whatever. Let's just get out the field. Time to go. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Let's pose this question to you two. You guys are both here. Sean, what do you think?
Yeah, but he's been consistently successful on that team. And right now they're not healthy. I mean, you don't have Tannehill. You don't. We know Henry's back, but he's had weeks where he's struggled, and then he's had weeks where he's dominated. But look, when you got
Yeah.
health issues, you gave up AJ
Yeah.
Brown, and we know the backup Malik Willis. Shout out to him for getting the opportunity, but he's not it right now. I don't know if he's necessarily lost the locker room. I will say when you lose to the Jaguars and you lose to the Texans, that'll definitely put a spotlight in your room. So we'll see what happens. We'll definitely see what happens because hey, to Chris's point, if they're talking all over social media after he just told them let's talk, I mean, he obviously might not have the kind of pull or respect that he's had in previous years, but he doesn't have the same team that he's had in previous years. You know what I mean? He has rookies all over the place. He's had different receivers and Robert Woods. You know what I mean? So he's got some guys that maybe aren't used to what he's been building the last several years, and then their leaders out. I mean, and then that AFC South, nobody has a winning record in that AFC South. Like this is a team that was the number one seed in the playoffs a year ago, and now we don't even know if they're going to make it in this year with a fairly similar team. I mean, they didn't really use a bunch of AJ Brown a year ago, so it does make you raise some eyebrows. I will say that.
Well, Handy, that's the whole thing. As Sean was just pointing out, they've now actually are out of the playoff picture. Jacksonville actually now leads the division, in that AFC South. Like, is this the end of these Tennessee Titans as we know them? What do you think?
I think it is entirely possible. Every team that has a every team that has a run, whether it's 2 years, whether it's 10 years, at some point, the parts of the foundation start to crumble. Guys get traded off, guys retire, what have you. Coaches get fired, and the team is not ever, the same. The only team I can think of that's maintained any level of consistency in the entire time I've been watching NFL football is the Steelers, and even then, right now, they're on a little bit of a struggle bus. You know what I mean? So I would say that this is to address the question itself. This new generation of kids, you're not gonna keep them on social media. You just not. They live, breathe, and die by social media. So a lot of the younger players, that's their bread and butter. Their posts and the things that they say and getting saying stuff for clicks and things of that nature. And so I can't say that he's lost the locker room per se, but to the point that Sean made, that 3-word philosophy still rings true. Winning cures everything. And right now, they're not winning in the fashion that they're not winning as frequently as they're used to in years past. So I don't think he's lost the locker room. I do think they have some. I do think they do need some of their parts back and they need to. Front office needs to address a lot of things. Not just Vrabel. I think the front office needs to address some things that are glaring. Number one, you lose Derrick Henry and you lose Tannehill. The Titans the Titans, this particular squad right now, this roster, without those two, dead in the water, pretty much. So, yeah, I don't think he's lost the locker room. I don't, but I definitely think they got a lot of work. They got a lot of work ahead of them many years to come.
Well, their most important game is definitely coming up because they get the Cowboys on Thursday night. And I'm telling you, if they lose that game, I think they're pretty much done. I think that should pretty much sink them for the playoffs. So we'll see what happens with the old Mike Vrabel and the Tennessee Titans. But on back to the coin toss topic, Anthony, I'm going to come back to you. Your team is the Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
And Atlanta has kind of gone up and down this year with Mariota. Now they're starting Desmond Ridder. So what is it that Atlanta needs for their team this coming, next year? All that good stuff.
Like Sean, I think we need a more stable, because I don't think Desmond Ridder's ready. I think we need a more stable veteran to come in and step into that place. Somebody that can mentor Desmond Ridder, not just somebody that's a placeholder just because they got experience and we're going to trot him out there every week. But they're gonna have to find somebody on the cheap. But yeah, definitely need a more stable quarterback. The offensive line could use some tweaking and some work because we had some key parts to the offensive line that wound up getting hurt early in the season. A capable front office, and I don't know, a more consistent defense, because that defense has shown flashes of brilliance. The flashes of brilliance this year. Every game they've shown flashes of brilliance, but there's always that one play. It's just like putting plumber's tape on a leak. It can hold the leak back after a while, but all it takes is one break in that plumber's tape for the big part of the leak to come through, and the next thing you know, you come home to a flooded bathroom. And it's the same thing week in and week out. All it takes is that one breakout play, and then whatever confidence they came into the game with is shot. And then, they're playing I can't say the phrase I want to say. I don't want to, they're grabbing their butts the rest of the game. I did, you fill in the blanks there with that. So definitely more work on the defense, a more capable front office, definitely a more stable quarterback. We need somebody. We need at least one more stable backup for the running backs, because Cordarrelle Patterson is getting run in the ground. Tyler Algier can't do it by himself. So we're going to need, the NFL has gotten to the point where you need that two-headed running back monster. So, yeah, that's what I got.
Oh, I mean, I totally get that. And I would probably have to agree with your and Sean's assessment of your teams right now with everything that's going on. Of course, my beloved Bear, obviously probably the most popular answer is help for Justin Fields, right? But I'm actually more that we need defensive help. We have absolutely zero pass rush. We have no edge rusher that can really take over a game. dominate the line, or anything like that. And yes, we've gotten some good play from our linebackers in Jack Sanborn, Nick Morrow, and a couple of these guys. But man, when you have a defense that just gets run on, it's horrible. And I mean, you can't afford to give up 200 and something. Like, think about this. Just to show you, let me give you this example. For those of you who watched the Bills Bears game this past Sunday or Saturday, the Bills are a mostly passing offense, right? We would all agree with that. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis. They got, Mike or Cole Beasley back. They ran for over 250 yards on us. They are not a running team. Both of their running backs were at 100 yards. Do you understand? I mean, come on now. You let the Buffalo Bills run on you like that? That's when you know something's not right. I'm just saying. That's when you know we need some defense. Yes, Justin Field, but I think we're going to be okay. The line, I know people are going to criticize the line, and I get that, but we did have a lot of injuries. There was a lot of mixed matching going on this year, but there's some stable guys there with Braxton Jones, Tevin Jenkins, Larry Borum. We need a center. I will say that, but I think the line is actually going to be okay. And with Justin Fields back there, I think the offense itself, obviously we do need a stud receiver, but I think the defense with the 8 draft picks that we have, and with 120 million in cap space, we need an edge rusher or a great pass rusher to really help us out. So that's what I feel the Bears need going into this thing. So let's throw out a couple more teams just for fun because again, we're all about the sports here and having a good time. Sean, I'm going to come to you with this one. The Green Bay Packers. What do they need? Sean, come on. What Green Bay Packers?
I mean, look, they got a lot of weapons on defense, but I think their scheme needs to change up a little bit. I just think, they. I mean, you got Jair Alexander, you have I can't think of the other name. But you got these guys that can play, but honestly, you just have to figure the scheme ain't really working unless you're playing teams that aren't that great. So with all that talent they had, I think they got like Quay Walker from Georgia. I know they got Zadarius Smith. Like these guys have talent. They should be dominating, and they really have not been playing great. I mean, we were able to put up, I think, 23 on them. Out of Washington. That was right when Taylor came in. So honestly, I think that defense, they need to figure out that scheme, figure out what's going on with that. I honestly think it was just a down year for the offense. Now that Aaron's kind of got his thing with his receivers, I think he should be fine. A lot of that is kind of on him where he wants to throw it more. But I mean, you got a 2-headed monster in the backfield, like Handy said. The league is doing 2-headed monsters. So you got AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones. You can't give them only, 10, 15 carries a game, like combined. You got to be giving them like 30 to 45 carries combined. You got to really put in that work because we've seen in several games. I mean, not to bring your game up, but that first Bears game, the game was close until they started really running the ball. They weren't really passing the ball at all. It was the run game that's really proved true. And in the on the other side of it, when they played us, they only ran the ball collectively 12 times, and that was 4 for Dillon and 8 for AJ for the other back. I can't think. I don't know why I just blanked on his name, but Jones. So they need help on that offense, but I think if that defense helped them a little bit more and maybe worked out that scheme a little better, I think things would be different.
Nope, I would totally agree with you. I mean, I definitely think Dillon and Jones need to run more for them to be successful, to set up Aaron Rodgers for all his many throws that he likes to make. But I think I do want to get to this question because here's an interesting one for me. Real talk, is Lamar Jackson a serious possibility for Miami this offseason? I am so torn. I love Tua. Discuss when possible. Well, here, if I may take this one really quickly, I'm actually more concerned about Tua playing football in general right now. This is the 3rd time he's in concussion protocol this year. And if Miami is worth their salt at all, even though you're right in the middle of a playoff thing, I really think they had to sit this kid for the rest of the year. If he is your future, if he is your guy, you need to just let him sit the rest of the season and work this out, whatever it is. Don't try to bring him back. Think more long-term than just this year because you can hurt that kid seriously If this, I mean, think about it, third time in concussion
Hurt him.
protocol. What if he
Hurt
takes
him. You
another hit?
could kill
What if he
him.
takes another? Well, that's what I'm saying. You take another hit like that this year, and that kid could go out for good and never play football again. But Handy, I'll give you this question because the one part of that was, is Lamar Jackson a possibility for Miami? Let me ask you, do you really think Baltimore is thinking about not bringing Lamar back? What do you think, Andy?
We know how this goes. We know how this goes with every year. There's some player, some marquee player, that's got some deal going on, and it drags on through the offseason or whatever. I don't think if Baltimore is out of their mind if they let Lamar Jackson go, um, just in what he brings in terms of what he brings to the Ravens, both in added value to the franchise because he's their marquee player. People tune in to see him play. In terms of, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna lay it all out. The merchandise sales, he's probably one of the leading jersey sellers, and then on top of that, he's a quarterback that's still in his prime. But of course, again, they've got to give him some weapons. And they got to give him, some weapons. They got to give him a little bit better of an offensive line. Now, do I think that there's a possibility? I think there's always a possibility. I think there might be some teasers actually thrown out there during the offseason that he might be going to Miami. Do I really think he's going? I don't think so. I think Baltimore sees too much value in that. I think what they're going to do is they're probably going to franchise tag him at the end of the year and give him a nice fat bag and then see what he does next season.
Well, okay, no, that's fair. Now, Sean, let me ask you this because somebody put up there about, well, they would have paid him by now. But, Lamar is acting without an agent. And he said that he was going to play and negotiate it, wait till the end of the year, whatever. He's going to play this contract out and then go from there. Do you think Lamar has played this smart at all, this whole season? Do you think he should have not played without a contract, without having the contract? What do you think?
I mean, unless he seriously gets like RG3 hurt, where he's really messes his legs up, I think everything he's done up to this point has just garnered him that type of money and him betting on himself. We'll see. Hindsight's 2020. We'll see if that was the right decision, if that was a smart decision. But at the same time, he is that type of talent to where, let's be very honest, any three of our teams would sell the farm for him. You know what I mean? So he has that kind of leverage right now. And we know our good buddy Nathan Snell always talks about it. Their offensive coordinator, Greg Roman, it's not working. The play calling, all that stuff is not working for them. So they're going to have to figure out what to do. Will he move on? I mean, coming into this season, I know I've talked to Nate about it many times. Coming into the season, it was just like, or last year, it was blasphemy. Coming into this year, it was like, now we're at this point, and they're not most likely. I mean, maybe they'll make the playoffs, but Huntley doesn't look necessarily promising. It really makes you wonder, like, they don't really have much help for him. I mean, Andrews is okay. Andrews is great normally, but he has been kind of going down. We know about the injuries to the running game, and the running is their forte. That's their big thing, 100%. Yeah. So,
sure.
He loves Baltimore, and I know Baltimore loves him, but this is a business. And at the end of the day, somebody's going to pay him what he wants. Now, hopefully it's not the Texans or the Raiders or any of these teams where you know what you're dealing with. But there are teams that will pay the big bucks to get a Lamar for, if not for anything else, than what Handy said, the merch, to bring him in for the social media, for all of the fans, just to say, I mean, think about how many fans will come to that first game if they know their new quarterback is Lamar Jackson.
Oh, no doubt.
True.
Yeah. It's definitely possible. Will it happen? Look, the Ravens, we saw what happened with Dak, and that was an injury where Dak couldn't come back on, and they waited to the very, very last minute, the 11th hour, till they finally paid him. So if they're smart, they'll pay him, but things do need to change. I mean, we talked about Greg Roman and Harbaugh maybe too. Who knows? I mean, look, it's been a couple years since they won the Super Bowl, and they won it with Flacco. Yeah. And Flacco was nothing like Lamar as far as athletic ability, but they also had a stud defense. They had money to pay these guys that were studs on the defense. They don't necessarily have that right now. So it's a big gamble, but it's going to be interesting to see what they do going forward. It's possible. I think it's possible. Miami, I think they're straight with who they have. So I don't know if Miami's going to get them, but who knows?
Yeah. No, I mean, again, and I'm very interested to see if they do resign him. Does he, do they give him close to that Deshaun Watson contract? Because that's the kind of money he was looking for. So I'll be definitely interested to see that. We have another comment here from Chris. Jeff Simmons said the same thing, that he was going to play this season and then tuck his deal. Right. That's what he had said. So, yeah, I mean, again, we're all interested in this, I'm sure, because I'm very interested to see what happens with Lamar Jackson in the offseason. Again, they are in the playoff, and I believe they're 10-5. So they're not a lock, but they're a pretty good shot to get in. I know Cincinnati is probably going to win the division now, the way they're playing. But I think Baltimore does. I think Baltimore is the 5th seed, I think, and I think they're pretty much in as long as some team loses this, like one of those 7 teams loses this week. So Baltimore's looking like they're playoff bound. Just we'll have to see what happens with Lamar Jackson. Well, listen, we thank you guys, of course, for watching and for viewing and the questions.
Thanks for watching. If you like that clip, be sure to check out the other great content from the Let's Talk Football community. And as always, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when more great content like this becomes available.